Thursday. Bit of a change of plan this morning. Supposed to do some training, but that's altered. We'll pick that up another day. Not too bad, nothing too major. So this morning at workshop, just done an Arocs sensor and spun some filters. Just makes a nice change. Engine service. So then done that, and now I've got a job at Wolverhampton to do, another bin clamp fault, and we'll pick that caliper fault up while I'm there on that other truck, so that should work out perfect. That going there now, it's just slotted in nicely, and then once we've done that, I've got that job to do at Widnes, which I can pick that up on my way back. The company we go to at Widnes, we can access the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that's a good do. So we can get that rattled off, and it's, you know, sometimes it's like, yeah, sorry mate, we shut at 5, so you're gonna have to get yourself through gates at 5 and 4, and you know what I mean. I think the earliest one I've ever been to is one up Scotland, and they shut at 2:30, which wow, it's not a bad job, is it? Finishing work every day at 2:30. Wouldn't do for me. Obviously it would do for lots of people, but it's not good for me. That I don't like to finish work at 2:30 in the afternoon, so I could get bored very quickly. Anyway, so what we'll do, we'll point the van south, we'll shoot down to Wolverhampton, and probably catch you down there. Yeah, I forgot to mention, I was at yard this morning. I did spar when I was in there. Brand new Renault chassis that's just been delivered. Should be having a bin body fitted to it. Electric, fully electric. Now, we have done a couple of these in the past, but I've never really had a chance to have a look at them. So hopefully, get a chance to have a look next time at yard. It's not going into production and started getting built. Hopefully, I'll be able to have a look at it. I'm hoping to. I think I'm back at yard in the morning, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully before the end of the week, I'll get to have a look at it, and I'll show you some pictures of it, or a video of it. Never had out to do with them, but with the way of the world and everything's now going electric, it's what's going to be happening, isn't it? So I have, well, they were talking to me doing some training mid-Feb, I think, on these electric trucks. I know the one thing you've got to do is decommission them, so I think we're doing the decommissioning training, stuff like that. It's just as and when it fits in with the workload and everything else. Now that'll be quite interesting. I'm quite interested to have a do with them and just see what is with these electric ones. So I can't see them having much of a range on them, like, but you never know, they might have. So yeah, what they do here at CPD, they basically build all the trucks themselves. We have in the yard at Chorley 2 buildings. One's the workshops, we do all the maintenance, and the other building's production, where they build all the bin trucks. So everything comes in as a chassis cab, predominantly Mercedes, mechanics, and then lads in production build them. Jobs are good. Now, we don't just do bin trucks in there, we do skip wagons, hook loaders, these food pod wagons and stuff like that as well. So yeah, there's a good range. I do like going in there actually. Don't get to go in there so much, but I do like going in there and just having a look what they're doing and what they're building, and you know, a couple of good lads, they're all good lads that are working there. But for the electrical side of it, them lads know it inside out, obviously, because they're building them. So yeah, it's very interesting going in there. So hopefully we'll get to look at that Renault tomorrow, or some point before we go back out on our travels. So yeah, anyway, catch you at Wolverhampton. No, this could be an interesting one. This is what the customer's actually reporting on this one, is that it's letting the bins come off as they're coming back down. to open the clamp for dropping the bins down. So what we'll do, we'll get a bin, throw it on, and keep trying and see what happens. So you can see. So initially what I can see, the bins aren't sitting on the cones properly. So I'll just have to have a look at that. It's yeah, it's not something you want, is it? A bin being thrown at you. Especially on these 1100s. Especially a metal one. Especially if it's still half full. Definitely not. So yeah. So just see if I can get it to do it again. And if it does, I'll start looking at the clamp and see why it's not been up. It's fetching the bin back, it's letting the clamp open a touch. This isn't what we want to happen. Definitely not. So let's have a quick look at that now. Right, so that seems to cure the problem. So what we've done there, tested the pressure, plenty of pressure going into clamp, adjusted the clamp gap, it was just a bit bigger than it should have been, and then with it having them rubber buffers on the top, whilst when the bin goes in it gets all of them buffers, so when it's coming back down it's forcing that clamp open, yeah. So what's happening is, in effect, it's tipping the bin too high up. So if it's tipping it so high up, it's getting stuck on the rubber buffers, and as it's coming down, it's pulling the bin out of the clamp, yeah. So even with the clamp adjusted, it can still get it out, because it will, the clamp's got that bit of movement in it. So I've adjusted the clamp gap from 25mm down to 18mm, so that's getting a lot better now. And there's an angle sensor. I've altered that sensor so the bin doesn't tip as high up, yeah. It will tip high enough for the rubbish still to come out of it, but not as high as it was going. So as the bin's going in now, it's not getting all of them rubber buffers the same, and when it's coming down it's not trying to flick it out of there. So that should be perfect now. As you can see then on that video, I run it. Previous to that I've run it 15-20 minutes, bin in, bin out, bin in. Same with the little 240 plastic ones. They're working perfect, they're getting a good enough angle for the rubbish to come out. So you've got to be careful that you don't end up with your angle too shallow, so the stuff will get stuck in the bin and not come out of it. So yeah, so that to me now should be alright. Best thing you can do now is run it, see what happens. All pressures are alright, it's tipping it bin perfect, no problem. So that's alright. So it's about 1:30 now. The truck that I've got the caliper fault on, that's coming in about 2 o'clock, so that'll give me a chance to just get a bite to eat now, some dinner, get that, and then that should be a 2ish, get that smashed off, and then we'll see what we're like for time, because obviously it's January, it's dark. I can't do any service in dark light, but I can. I've always got torch light. I've also bought one of these. Oh, that's bright. So I'll get that strapped on head and do that. So another purchase I got the other day. Kettle. 240 volt travel kettle. Perfect. Used it last couple of days. Excellent. Inverter runs it no problem. It's only about 650 watt anyway, so it's not too bad. So yeah, inverter runs that, no bother. Makes life easy. So what I'll do now, I'm doing the brake calipers in the next yard down the road. So I'll shoot down to the next yard, get something to eat, and we'll catch you when that comes in. Well, that's the first. You probably noticed on that time lapse there. Front caliper back on. Put 2 bolts in because it's got Allen keys that hold it onto the carriage. They're a bit tight, so put them back on. Cracked them off with bare. So jobs are good one. Usually it comes just a caliper on its own, and then the carriage plate is brackets separate, so you've got to put a slide kit in, do it that way. So gets it off, cracks the bolts, jobs are good one. But better get caliper out of the van. Just make sure I've got the right one before I get too excited with this. You're not going to believe this. You aren't going to believe it. I opened the box, I looked in the box and I was like, really? Okay, no problem. I'll show you. It comes with carrier already on it. I've never known that before. Or I've never had one with carrier come on it before like that. So yeah, that's alright, isn't it? That'll do for me. So I can just throw it straight on now without having to mess about this over one. Happy days. On caliper. won't fit. Brilliant. I'm a bit of office, isn't I? So I've got it on caliper for wagon. Less. Got an idea. Got a plan. Let's try it. Right, so like I said, got a plan. Anyway, so the plan was the new caliper, take the potentiometer out of that one and put it in the old one, which should in theory cure the fault. So that's what I've done. Put the potentiometer in, bang 2 new caps in with the sliders there, pinched them out of the slide kit I've got on BAM, so I'll have to try and replace them. Built it all back up, kept everything up, plugged texture in, cleared all faults, turned ignition back on, brake pad warning light's gone. So that's what we set out to achieve, that's what we've achieved, and that'll do for me. So that'll just leave our parts lads tomorrow. They can return that caliper that's wrong, and then they'll just have to get a potentiometer for that caliper, put the potentiometer in it, send it back, job's right. So it's only cost them the price of a potentiometer, which is probably cheaper than a caliper anyway. So for anybody who's not seen a potentiometer on a brake caliper, that's one. So basically plugs in here and that goes up to the brainic cab and it tells it how worn its pads are in relation to whatever else. So that is one. So it sits in your brake caliper like that, so it'll sit that way on that brake caliper. That goes in, as you can see it's on a spring, yeah. So what happens is it's up against the adjuster. When the pads are new, the spring will be compressed. As the pads were, the spring comes out, which then magic determines what life's left on them pads. That's basically how potentiometer works, I think. Sounds good though. If it's wrong, it still sounds good. So yeah, so that's potentiometer. So what we do now, bank wheel back on, torque her up, and then torque tag in the cab, and then we'll get ourselves away. Time's getting on a bit now really, so whether I get to witness or not, or if not, I think the truck's available from like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or half 1 in the afternoon, so possibly we might be able to pick it up tomorrow afternoon. I don't mind doing air service in it dark, I don't mind working it dark, it doesn't bother me, but I do prefer to air service in the daylight. I tend to find sometimes you can miss stuff because it's dark, you don't see it properly. I'll tell you something, there's bloody dust blowing around this yard here. My toolbox is covered in it. Anyway, it is what it is. So what we'll do, we'll put you back on time lapse, throw it wheel on, torque it up. Jobs are good. Right, well, that's it, home time, done. Witness, we'll pick Witness up tomorrow, do that tomorrow afternoon. Works good morning, so fingers crossed I'll get some fixed at Renault. I'm quite looking forward to looking around that. A bit sad, I know, but it is what it is. So yeah, so thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and hopefully I should be home for a decent time tonight. Hoping to be home for our 6 quarter to 7, which will do for me. Nice early finish, so perfect. Look after yourselves.